Thank you for joining me today. I'm Sandra at artypapercrafters.com. Today's tutorial is this pop-up panel card, which I think is very cute, very nifty indeed. It folds down like that, and I have decorated it with the sassy framelit dies on this one and put a beautiful little butterfly on it. This I have made for a card swap challenge during the month of July, and I think that this is a very clever idea, and I'm going to show you how you can create yours today. So let's put that to one side for the moment, and I'll show you what you need to make it. Now, this pop-up panel card is based on a video tutorial by Kevin Devine. I shall put all his details and links to his site on my website if you would like to go over and have a look at what he made. But today my pop-up panel card is going to be made using very vanilla cardstock. It uses the Playful Palette Designer Series paper. It uses the Painter's Palette matching stamp set, and it uses the Layering Squares framelit dies, of which there are very many in here to choose from, so a lot for your money there. So that's what we've used today. So we're now going to get started on our panel card. So I'm going to just put those pieces to one side for the moment, because all we need to concentrate at the moment are these main pieces. So you need a sheet. This sheet measures 8.5 inches by 11 inches. This piece measures 4.25 by 11 inches, and this piece measures 2.75 by 11 inches. And we are going to start off by putting our piece measuring the 4.25 by 11 inches into our scoring board, and that gets scored at 5.5 inches. So that's the scoring done on that, and put that to one side. And then we've got our piece measuring 11 inches by 2.75, and we are going to score that at 2.75, at 5.5, and at 8.25. So that's the measurements done for that piece. And now we get on to the second sheet, and this is where the fun starts. So we put our sheet in on the long end on both sides, and what you need to do now is you need to score it at 5.5 inches on the long side, and then you run your pencil mark down that score line as well, the pencil mark. Then you take that out of the scoreboard, and on both of the long sides you will definitely need a ruler for this. On both of the long sides you measure it at 4.25 inches. So you need, I seem to have glue stuck to this. You need to be very precise with your measurements. So you put your ruler along, make sure that it's even at both ends, and you measure at 4.25 inches, and you put a pencil mark, and then you put another pencil mark at 6.75 inches. Turn your card round to the opposite end, and you do the same at the opposite end. 4.25 inches, I said, didn't I? And 6.75 inches. And now you need to line those marks up and draw a pencil line across there. And now we go to the short sides, and you need to do a pencil mark at 2 1/8 inches, and 4 1/4 and 6 3/8. 6 3/8. It's tricky, isn't it? 6 3/8. I don't know where that is going to be. Let me just get my... I'm just going to get my scoring board in. I don't want to get this measurement wrong. So I said 6 and... No, that's not going to work either. Let's get the scoring board in. Oh, sorry about the noise. Chaos reigns. So 6 3/8. That's right, 6 3/8. So that's on here. So 4 1/4, 2 1/8, and 6 3/8. Rotate that and do that measurement on the other end. So that's 2 1/8, 4 1/4, and 6 3/8. And then you'll need to connect those with some solid lines. Across here. So this does take time, but it is definitely worth it, because it does make a very nifty little card, very unusual card. Then with the long sides at the top and the bottom, so you've got your long side across here, you measure in 4 inches from each side, so ruler down again, and you measure 4 inches, so your 4 inches is here, and then on here your line will be 7 inches, so you put another line 7 inches. Rotate your card and again line up your ruler so that it's perfectly central. Score it at 4 inches and 7 inches. And then what we're going to do is we're going to connect that mark here with the top mark there, like that, and we're going to do that on all 4 edges. Turn it round. Like this. And that is what you are now left with. So what we're going to do now is we are going to cut away these 4 corners. So these 4 corners here we are going to cut away. And when you cut just slightly over that pencil line. So I'll just show you that. You cut in and just cut away your pencil line. So no more. And then we're going to cut up here. Like that. So again, cutting up very carefully up your pencil line. So that's all 4 pieces kept. You can save those if you want for another project. And now that is what we are left with, this piece here. And what you do now, you turn that way round, the short side, and you need your bone. You will need a bone folder, and where this line is here, you bring your, oh yes, we burnish that middle line, so let's do that first. Burnish our middle line, nice crease on that. Then you bring that piece up from the middle, and you fold it down. You put that crease mark against that pencil fold, and then you burnish your line. Burnish it very well, and then you release that back up, and then you pull this side down to meet the middle again. And then you make sure you hold that very still, and you burnish your line again. And then when you release, you should be able to then close that in on itself like that, like 2 wings, and pull that down to the middle, press down, and make sure that they meet perfectly up, perfectly. And then you burnish again, really burnish that well. Turn it over and do the other side. And that is the working mechanism of the middle of your card, to put your panel across the middle. And now I'm going to get a rubber, because we need to just rub out some of our pencil marks so that they're not visible when we put our cards together. So I just rub out those middle lines that run across there. And just across the middle there. The rest won't be seen, the rest will be covered, so just get rid of those. That's it. So now that leaves us to decorate the inside of our card. So this is the outer part of our card, which we're going to just fold and burnish. That's our outer part. Put that to one side. And then we need mountain and valley folds on our skinnier part. That's that part. That's the part that pops out. That part then goes across the middle there. But I'll show you how you do that in a moment, because we're going to get some lovely decorating done now. So what I've done is, I've told you I've used the Painter's Palette DSP, and across the middle of my panels, across here, I'm going to put one of each of these. So let's get those stuck down. And I know that this video is probably quite long, but trust me, it's worth it in the end. And then I've cut out using my framelets. I think this was the little scalloped edge, and this is the 2 by 2 inch size, and that I've cut out here. And I'm going to put a friendship is a work of art, that there, a little expression of love, and that one there. So let's stick those down. I've already decorated these to save time, because otherwise my video will never end and you'll all be bored and leave me. And so I hope you're still with me watching this video, because it's really a very good project, this. It took me a while to work this out, and my husband helped me a bit with the mechanics of it, because he's an engineer. He's very clever like that. So that goes across the middle like that. Isn't that great? Now you're going to need 2 quirky pieces down here, and the best way to measure these pieces measure, what do they measure? I wrote it down somewhere. Inside layers. So these measure 5 1/8 by 4 inches, and when you put your ordinary piece down, the best way to do it is to put it down when you've cut your big piece, and then just get a ruler across that edge and mark it with a pencil, and then chop it off on your board, and voila, it is done. On here. I've just noticed a little pencil mark. So I'm going to get rid of those pencil marks just on the end there. I don't want those showing. A bit more fine to use on here. now this is the mechanics of it. This is where you see when it works or not. So on this piece here, you need to stick your glue. I'll open that up. You need glue on this bottom corner here and on this top corner here. So I shall just show you how that works. So I'm using my wet glue for this, and this is what I mean by the bottom section here. So we put glue on this bottom section here and stick that down first. And the way I did it was I held it up like that, and you stick it so that it's fairly flush, but you need to stick it so that it's more or less sticks out the same amount at the end there on either end. And that's what I've done. And press that down with your bone folder like that, so that that sticks down there. And now we're going to stick this top corner here. And do the same thing, offer that up like that, making sure that that is the same distance at the end, like that. Whoops, it slid. Sliding about. Like that. Bone folder again, and just burnish that down. Make sure that's nicely stuck. So that is how that comes together, and you will see that that folds down on itself perfectly. So that's that part. So that's that part of the mechanism done, and we're going to close that down on itself like that. And now we're going to get the main body of the card done. So this is the front of our card flap. Just burnish that down. And we're going to decorate the front of our card. So I've got a piece of basic black on here, and that measures, let's see what that measures. That measures 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and don't worry about the measurements, I'll put them all on my website for you to pop over and have a look, because this does have a lot of detail to it, this card. So, and I know that you're going to want to make it. I'm absolutely sure you are, and I hope you'll want to make it with some of these products, and that you'll perhaps put a little order, because I know where you can buy these products. And that's going to go on the top there. And this measures, what does this measure? 5 inches by 3. Where's my ruler? I don't seem to have written it down. Yes, I have. I've written it down. 5 inches by 3 3/4. So a bit of glue on that. Down. So that's a bit in the corner. That's annoying me. That's better. Now we need to do a bit of stamping with our Painter's Palette stamp set. So let me move all my pieces out of the way. Just open up my... So this little piece here measures 2 1/2 inch. No, it doesn't. What does this piece measure here? 2 1/2 inches by 3 1/2 inches, and we're going to stamp our little our cute little painter's palette. So let's put that onto a block. Like that. And we're going to get the black stays on. Or am I going to use my black? No, I'm going to use my basic black archival ink for this. So we need to make sure that we ink this up good and proper. That seems to be inked up good and proper. Sorry if I get my head in the way. Press that down. That's it. Yes, that's good. Good and clear. And then in the middle of my palette here, I've got a piece of cut from my framelets. This is 2 inches by 2 inches, and the little piece that goes in the middle with the sentiment is 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. And we're just going to stamp our sentiment, which is, your idea to have a birthday, it was simply a stroke of genius. I think that's what I was going to do in there, yes. So, get my block for that. And then I think, what colour am I going to do that? I think we're going to have some peekaboo peach, possibly. Peekaboo peach, let's do it in peekaboo peach. Sorry if my head's in the way, I was just trying to make sure I did it straight. Yep, put that away. And then we're going to get the snail and just stick that on. And then I'm going to pop that up on some dimensionals. That on there. Cute, eh? Right, where are we now? That goes on to here. And what have I done with my little pin that it's my little pin. What have I done with that? I had it. I think I've lost it. Well, perhaps I'll find that in a minute. Let's just stick that to one side. We're now going to adhere our card to the inside, like that. Make sure that's the correct way up. And the way you do that is to stick some glue on the back here. And I'm using wet glue for that. Make sure you put enough on to stick it down properly. Line that up at the bottom. And then that folds over there. And we now need to stick some wet glue on this side. down. That. And just press that down to make sure that that's good and stuck. And then am I going to stick that on there with dimensionals? I think I will. So where's my dimensionals? Stick a few on here. So I really hope you'll have a go at this card, because it's just a delight to open and close. You just can't stop opening and closing it. And that's going in the middle there. Like that. So there it is. Voila! Open up your card, and it says, "Our friendship is a work of art, a little expression of love." And then that closes back down on itself like that. And then I have my original one here that I showed you, which closes back down like that and opens like that. And this is my one I've showcased today. So I really hope you'll have a go at making those. If you want the details, pop over to my website. If you'd like to purchase any of the Stampin' Up products that I've demonstrated today, they're also available to purchase on my website, and all the details are there. So thank you for joining me today, and until the next time, it's bye from me. Bye bye.